back to my YouTube channel. I hope you're having the best day ever. First of all, I want to show you my outfit today because I kind of have the colors going on. I have this underneath. I was going to wear this on its own, you know, or sorry, this one on its own. If you don't care about this, I'm sorry. Just give me 10 seconds. I really like this. I was going to wear this on my own, but it's kind of oversized, so I put a white shirt on underneath it, and I think it makes it look better, and then some of these chinos. And also, I'm filming this YouTube video, and I opened up the window because people keep saying, open up the window so more light comes in, but then whenever I do it, it like backlight. You can just tell me what you think about it. Anyway, hi, I hope you're doing very well. Okay, let's keep it real. On this channel, we have been going in on the H3 Frenemies, families, fucking whatever drama that has been happening. Like, on and on and on and on and on. We literally have done so many videos at this stage. And I say we because I really do feel like you're involved in this process because you're keeping me up to date as much as I am with you, and I appreciate it. Okay. Also, Donna, please stand up. If you're watching this, please stand up. But no, so there has been more that has happened with the Frenemies drama, and if you know anything about what I talk about whenever I do this, I'm trying to pace myself so I'm not trying to overload you with it. So we talked about a lot a week ago, we talked about a lot a couple days ago, so now I'm going to give you the follow-up updates, and they are that Ethan has responded to Trisha's apology, which we filmed a YouTube video on, and it is not how I expected it to go whatsoever. I have taken notes, we're not going to watch it, we're instead I've recapped it and I'm going to talk about it. It's not how I thought it was going to go. I honestly thought that Ethan was going to, and he doesn't have to whatsoever, but the way that Ethan was dealing with Trisha up until now was so level-headed and like almost like he didn't really give a shit with it. So it was interesting hearing him talk about how much this has actually affected him, almost affected his business, affected his family life, and this is not something that he can just quickly forgive. I mean, it shouldn't, you know, I mean, this was messy, messy, messy. So it's interesting hearing him, you know, have that approach. I didn't necessarily expect whether he had it, he was going to speak it, so fair play. And also Trisha has responded to that in a very interesting way as well. So Ethan on one of the podcasts was basically just talking about Trisha's apology, and he really gets into it. So, okay, but before we get into this video, I just want to say a huge thank you so much to Adam and Eve for sponsoring this video. If you know anything, you know that we love Adam and Eve. You deserve a little present for all of these videos that you have to sit through on Trisha and Ethan and everyone fighting. But I thought, let's do this a little bit more fun. So by the way, if you use code ADAM50 on adamandeve.com, you will get 50% off one item and free shipping. And I think that is pretty phenomenal. And if that's not enough, I just wanted to now give you this sponsorship, kind of how Gabby Hanna presented her video in which she was dragging Joey and Daniel. So I'm going to take my phone here and I'm going to do the receipts and I'm going to get into character. Okay, so I'm now Gabby Hanna. So what if I'm a monster? Gabby Hanna, that one. Wow, a lot of energy today. Okay, so then Daniel, whenever we were on set, came to me and said the following. Can you fucking imagine? He said this. He said, go to adamandeve.com, use code ADAM50 for 50% off one item. Why not fucking 80%? And free shipping? I want to pay for shipping, Daniel. So can you imagine the torture they put me through? I can't believe this. And then the title is like exposing Daniel. Like, this is literally how Gabby I think does her sponsorships. So anyway, thank you Adam and Eve. Use code ADAM50, 50% off one item and free shipping in the US and Canada. Great company. Proceeds go to fighting the spread of HIV around the world. 24/7 customer service. 90-day no hassle return. Go treat yourself. Okay, bye. Mwah. I have some really interesting notes here. So first of all, he appreciates the apology, and then he goes on to say that he appreciates that Trisha is trying to make peace. You know, it's nice, at a bare minimum. Then he goes on to say that Trisha, you know, apologizes for sharing text messages and kind of a general apology, and also, you know, one to the crew. So there are some, you know, key moments that needed to be addressed in there, but it's just very much so very general. And is this a general thing you should be apologizing for? He's kind of, you know, going back and forth with that idea, and you can have your own about that as well. He says how Trisha says that Ethan doesn't have to accept it, and it's hard for him to accept it, you know, because so many things have just been glossed over since the apology to now, and he just feels like so much has happened that whenever Trisha, you know, Trisha comes at this from the approach of, you know, I'm just going to apologize, people want me to apologize, I feel like I should apologize, Ethan doesn't have to accept it, and Ethan's like, yeah, I don't have to accept it, which is also, I mean, fair play for him saying that. So then he goes on and he says that it's hard to forgive Trisha very fast because things like this, you know, Trisha moves very quick paced, and they've spoken on that in their own videos that they're very incredibly quick pace like this. Trisha even said that they were wanting to, you know, apologize and just move on with it, and, you know, apologize and go back to frenemies, or apologize and do whatever. It's kind of, they're a very fast-paced person. And Ethan was like, it's hard to, you know, have all this happen so quickly, and then Trisha to issue an apology, and then him be like, besties, the next day, because it doesn't work like that for him, nor most people, I would say. So then he goes on to say that he considered Trisha someone he trusted, family, friends, and someone he confided in. I mean, they worked together every single week, and the thing was, Frenemies started as such a piss take, in my opinion. Like, they didn't really care for each other, it was messy. That was kind of the best thing about it, especially those first couple episodes. I rewatched one of them a couple days ago, and the tension is so unbearable, but it's so funny to watch and so entertaining, and that was really what, you know, they batted off of, you know, that they really didn't like each other, or at least didn't care for each other. And then as time went on, you know, there was really a bond that seemed to have grown. So Ethan makes a completely valid point whenever he's like, you know, I confided in Trisha near in the end because we really built a friendship and a foundation, and Trisha's also my family, so for that to be thrown away is something that I can't quickly forget. I mean, I want to ask you, if you were in that situation, please comment below how you would be acting. So, then he goes on, he says that he understands that Trisha has things going on, that there are certain, you know, things that Trisha's dealing with, but still at the same time, he can't use that to excuse everything that he has been subjected to, in his opinion. So then he goes on to say that Trisha was just trying to ruin his life. He says that a lot, which is a very, you know, and I mean, I don't think he's wrong in saying that, because there were a lot of strong titles in videos that Trisha made, you know, about SA, SH, whatever, that, you know, they talked about Ethan in, so there's heavily, implied things there, and that is something that, if that really was to stick, that would stick with Ethan forever. You know, whenever it wasn't the case, you know what I mean? So he does say this a lot, that Trisha was just, point blank period, in his opinion, just trying to ruin his life. And attack him, and attack his business. Which is interesting, because Frenemies merchandise is coming out pretty soon. Like, I'm pretty sure it was supposed to be coming out this week. Is Trisha getting a cut from Frenemies merch? Because I want to know where you're at with that. I was thinking about this. Should Trisha get a cut from the Frenemies merch? I want to know what you're thinking of it. Me, I'm like, okay, Trisha was the appeal of Frenemies as much as what Ethan was. But at the same time, the people that are buying the Frenemies merchandise now are not necessarily Trisha Paytas fans. I think they've left. So I think the people now are H3 people at heart. So should Trisha still get the money from that? Whenever Trisha also walked out on that, you know, Trisha's saying that they have no problem promoting it. I want to know what your opinion is on that. Me, do I think Trisha should get money from it? Unpopular opinion, Trisha, I know you follow me on Twitter. Ethan follows me on Twitter too. I don't mean to be a bitch. Do I think Trisha should get money from this if there was no contract there? I don't think so. Sorry, babe. I'm sorry. It's just my honest opinion. Okay, and then he goes on to say that Trisha not only was making all these videos on him, you know, there were many, honestly, like feature film at times. You know, what was it? The videos that Trisha made on Ethan, that were all uploaded within one night, had a longer runtime than most movies released in 2021. Now, bitch, where's my popcorn? So I can watch this Trisha Paytas movie. And sorry, that was a lot. I don't know where that came from. So he says how after Trisha was doing all these videos, they also went a bit further, because they were liking tweets on old videos of Ethan being problematic, being racist, being just a bad person. I think any person who supports Ethan now can even say that. People who support Trisha, whatever. Bad shit. Not funny shit. Inappropriate shit. Problematic shit. And Trisha was, you know, liking all these tweets and fueling the argument that Ethan was, you know, a very, very, very problematic person in 2021. And this really pissed Ethan off because it went so much deeper than Trisha just doing exposed videos then, which he already thought was too far. Trisha was now trying to perpetrate by doing all these likes and, you know, responding to things in his opinion that Ethan was just a point-blank period horrible person, the same way things were whenever Shane and Trisha, you know, fell out, or David and Trisha fell out. So, take with that what you will. So, then he says how Trisha's video, or Trisha's sister's video, you know, that he takes that 5%, you know, Callie, that was a really good impression. He takes that 5%. That video, he says that he knows that video was just coming from Trisha's mouth, in his opinion. You know, they were all talking, and, you know, in Trisha's family, and that was kind of the person that spoke up. And he didn't say this, but it really leads me to believe that he was making the argument on what they said, you know, Scotty Sire making a video defending David was, you know, they're all getting fed this information and then one of them steps up and does it. It was that he thinks that 5%, you know, the sister. That's really good. That's really good. I didn't know I could do that. And so then he says about how Trisha was bringing up again about, you know, firing the crew and how this was a big issue for him still because Trisha was trying to say that Ethan didn't want to own up that he did say he wanted to fire the crew, and he says that Trisha does this a lot where Trisha will say that, you know, he said to them that Trisha wanted to fire the crew, and Trisha's saying that they didn't say that, and he's like, yeah, but you heavily implied it. Whenever you tell me that, you know, doing frenemies moving forward, we need, you know, crew that I'm gonna hire, which is then gonna, you know, be less crew of yours, or new crew, or whatever, that is firing them in a way. And he says this was also the case whenever Trisha was doing a video about SHSA, and the video, whenever you clicked on it, was about Ethan, and how he felt that, and I think he's in the right for thinking this, that whenever Trisha talks about Ethan sexualizing them and making them very uncomfortable in that way, in the workplace, that is SH. And so Ethan was like, whenever that started being brought up, that was just so far past the point of ever wanting to forgive Trisha. Okay, so then he goes on as well and says that Ethan is genuinely, like, in everything he's saying in this video, he's genuinely, like, coming at it from, like, a defeated point of view, in my opinion. He's not over the top energy, he's not over the top, like, saying it, he's not making jokes. He just seems very, like, deflated over it, and that's whenever you know it's, like, real, you know, like, everyone was speculating, is this true or is this not? You know, the Frenemies merchandise is coming, like, are they gonna appear back? I don't think so, you don't think so, they don't think so at this stage, but, you know, it was a conspiracy at a certain time, you know, get Shane Dawson in here, give him a little cat and he'll be happy, and, you know, he'll make his conspiracy theory video about it. But it just, at this stage, it was just so far gone for him, and he was just, like, incredibly disappointed this entire video. And he keeps bringing up how offensive everything that she was saying that he was doing was, and it was just, like, so weird that they were choosing to bring this up. Again, keeps mentioning how Trisha was genuinely trying to ruin his life in his opinion, and he says that so this is when he's talking about, like, the family and the implications past YouTube drama that this is, which is also interesting to hear because Trisha is engaged to Moses, who is Hila's brother-in-law, no, Hila's brother, so Trisha's Ethan's sister-in-law, right? Right? I don't know. So he says that there are heavy emotions in the family and deep, deep emotions into Hila's family because Trisha's in the family, and it's just extremely stressful that this has to happen. And that's also interesting because we're aware that Moses has talked about this. Moses made a TikTok in which he was making fun of, you know, turning off the Wi-Fi for Trisha, which, yes, in theory is funny, but he responded to a comment which was like, why aren't you defending your sister? Like, this is so far past the point. Why are you letting Trisha do this? And he was like, it was something along the lines of, they're two entertainers just being entertaining. Like, that's it. And it's like, ooh, that was your response? Like, especially in the moment of things happening between, ooh, okay. Alright. So then it goes on, and he says, this is a quote from him, "It's nice she's trying to apologize after trying to ruin my whole life." He goes on to say that he shouldn't have to watch 10 mid-roll ads, you know, ads on a YouTube video, like individual. He shouldn't have to watch 10 of them to get an apology. He brings up how Trisha, you have his phone number, why didn't you call him? He said he's open to a phone call, Trisha's aware of that. And he also brings up the argument that Trisha says that, you know, this apology is for the crew and, you know, they don't have the crew's number. And Ethan's saying that they're literally in a WhatsApp conversation, so that's bullshit and you can't apologize to them as well. So he's saying he appreciates this at a surface level, but not really. Okay. Which is also interesting to hear. He says a phone call would have been nice, and again, Trisha knows that he's open to talk. He goes on to say that at most this apology just clears the air, but it's just not personal, and it's a YouTube video with many ads, and it kind of just implies that Trisha only did this for, you know, public gain or some public approval. You know, Trisha has been getting the shit on social media. Trisha's TikTok comments are awful right now. YouTube comments, YouTube dislikes. Trisha's going through it more so than any other cancellation in the past. Like, maybe on similar levels with, like, the Anthony Padilla thing or the transgender thing. Like, maybe on that level with the amount of dislikes, and it's still continuing. And I said it in my video, Trisha's apology video was exactly what the public were asking for. Trisha did what the public were asking for. So the public not liking that was weird because Trisha did everything in that video, whether you want to admit it or not, that the public wanted. Now that's not to say Ethan has to accept it, but Trisha did do what the apology the public wanted. Okay. Then he goes on, he says about how Trisha put out the video about Frenemies before the Frenemies episode even aired. So Trisha making the argument that why would Ethan post that Frenemies episode if it was so bad is null. And I do get this, because it's like Trisha posted a video talking about how bad the environment was, you know, that they had a really bad time on that one episode, so Ethan did have to post the unedited video to show people the reality of it, because if not, they're just going by what Trisha said in that video, which was posted before Frenemies came out. Now keep in mind, Trisha's video got a lot of support before the Frenemies came out, and then people saw it for their own eyes and they were like... And keep in mind, members saw it before that, and they were angry at Trisha. So the narrative changed very quickly. Then goes on, and he says that Trisha said to him to post the podcast, and let's see who's right, because they were arguing about, you know, who was in the right, who was in the wrong. So Trisha actually said to him, apparently, let's post it and let's see who the public are on the side of. And while Trisha, that didn't age well, he says that if Trisha says something happened, he has to upload the unedited version so that people see the truth. And he says that the only saving grace in all of this, with Trisha accusing him of things, Trisha coming for him, Trisha calling him all these names, was that all of their fights up until this point, and including that one, have been online and have been unedited and have been raw, and, you know, people can make up their own judgment before this, but they can also see in real time the moment that caused the breakdown, which was the last Frenemies, and come up with their own take on it, rather than, you know, things being edited out, fights being edited out, and people never really knowing what was really going on, because then people would be able to take Trisha's word at face value, or, you know, there would be less proof against Ethan, or more for Trisha's benefit. So that's a good point. So I mean, they probably knew that going into Frenemies and just kept it unedited, but then again, most of the H3 podcasts are like that. So then he says that he just really needs time before he can come to some understanding of all this, and people, including Trisha, need to be accepting of that. He said that Trisha in this situation scares him because Trisha was just willing at the time of crisis to jump ship to try and ruin him, making those exposed videos, making, you know, tweets showing his text messages, and that's just something he can't have around. He says that this wasn't about the fight in the end, it was just Trisha's way of trying to remind everyone of every bad thing he's done by liking all the tweets, by engaging in negative stuff about Ethan, and he says that the final point, he just can't invite this back into his life because his family are at play, his work is at play, he has employees at play, so if there's someone in his close circle who is willing to just share text messages and drop them at the touch of a hat, or retaliate against them, it's not something that he feels comfortable having around, and he can't invite that back in. So there you go, that's completely, I don't think we anticipated it coming back, but point blank period, that is it. That is it. Which is going to be interesting moving forward, you know, them as a family. Again, that's not for us to talk about because that's their business, but you know what I mean. Like, there's a wedding coming up, or there's 3 weddings coming up with Trisha, you know, but... Oh, and I wasn't going to show you this, but I really do want to kind of bring this up now. So at the end of the video, Ethan talks about how it's hard for him to take it seriously because in it, Trisha also comes for Gabby Hanna. So it's like, is this an apology to me? Is it an apology to Gabby Hanna? Is it a dragging me video? Is it a dragging Gabby Hanna video? He said, and it's a good point, he said, so there's 10 mid-roll ads, and on top of that, like, let me pull it up here, he says, you also talk about Gabby Hanna, so it just seems like a bunch of distractions, and it's almost as if you're doing an apology video, and you're like, sponsored by Adam and Eve, which this video is, you know, Adam 50% off, free shipping, you're welcome. Here we go.
You hear it, it's very public, all this now, so... You know, I'm sure there'll be a time and place where we can reconcile, but okay. I'm not ready for that yet.
Okay, so he says about Gabby Hanna. Come on, Ethan.
And that's about it. I mean, that's like a week or two. I really need... She managed to sneak in an attack on Gabby Hanna during my apology here.
Which is a really good point.
I thought it was funny.
Cycle through people quickly, and he's obviously worked with St. Crucius, so he has nothing to do with him. I don't want people to think that's where I'm going with this. But people, you know, underpay dancers. There's YouTubers, you know, I know a guy YouTuber that does music videos and doesn't pay his dancers at all. And, you know, there's just people who don't respect the work that people put in, or people like Gabby yelling at the Escape Tonight crew because they changed the schedule or didn't have food for her when she didn't even put in the request. You know, it's like...
Trisha, are you apologizing to me? Why are we talking about Gabby Hanna not putting in food requests? Listen, Ethan, I'm so sorry. This apology is brought to you by Walmart.
It really is a good argument. I mean, in taking in, I made a video on Trisha's apology, and I don't even think I acknowledged that. It was so normal hearing Trisha talk about Gabby for me, and Gabby about Trisha, that I just didn't even process that, but that's so funny that Trisha, that's... Well done, being able to bring that up. Okay, well, I want to know what your opinion is on this. Let me know below. Again, Ethan went a completely different route than I thought he was going to, and he's allowed to. So we can talk about it below. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you're well. I hope you're staying safe. I hope you're drinking water. Please do. I had a night last night where I did like 5 face masks back to back, and I really feel so much better after doing it. So go treat yourself. You can make, I used to make a green tea face mask, and it used to be so nice on my skin. And like green tea, like £1 in shop, like $1. Anyway, okay, I love you. Just a little bit of self-care. Drink some green tea as well, really good for you. Okay, bye. If I don't end it now, I'm gonna continue, so bye.